Welcome to another edition of the Leading Ladies podcast, where we have amazing conversations with phenomenal women. And today's episode is no different because we have Miss LaFawn with us today. I want you to introduce yourself to the audience, tell them who you are and a little bit about what it is that you do.
Okay, so I am LaFawn Pugsley. I moved back here about a year and a half ago from Ann Arbor, Michigan. I actually lived here, graduated 91, Lima senior. So like I said, I've been back a year and a half. I'm actually an entrepreneur. I call myself a serial entrepreneur because I have different brands. And so one of the things that I do is I own a little girl spa. So that is Plush Party Palace Girl Spa here in Lima. That's located on 707 North Cable Road. Then also I am a baker. So, I do everything, cupcakes, cookies, all that good stuff. So soon we will be launching our cookie business. So that's going to be called Plush Cookie Company. So,
Which I'm excited about because I see some of the cookie pictures, the videos that you put, and I'm like, I need to call her and get one of but I'm trying to lose 50 pounds. So I don't really have time for the cookies, but some of the recipes and the unique cookies, I'm like, listen, I'm gonna have to get Frank some because he has a cookie addiction too. So I should have had you bring some today. But yeah, so you say you've been back here for a year and a half. Is that when you started your event space?
I actually started my event space back in 2017 in Ann Arbor. So that's when I had the first plush. So it was a lot smaller. It was maybe 1,300 square feet. This location is over 3,000 square feet. So I initially launched that back in 2017, the plush there. So it was Plush Party Palace Girl Spa. And then I dually ran it as Plush Cupcake Boutique. So that's when I was doing like my baking and things like that with my cupcakes.
Okay, sweet. Break it down for me a little bit more because I called it an event space, but it's a spa event space. Like, kind of break it down to me. Is it the event space model, or do you put together the entire event, or do you just rent it out to people?
So basically, how it goes is Plush Party Palace Girls Spa. It's a place where little girls come and have their themed birthday party. So there's celebrations, things like that. It doesn't have to be a full-fledged birthday party or anything like that. The little girls basically come in. They can get pedicures, manicures, facials, makeovers, things like that. So if you would look on our website right now, what you would basically see, you would see like we have like services. So there's like services that the parents can choose from. And then you'll see like party packages that they can choose from.
Okay.
So whatever comes with that party package, that's what we would do with the children that day. And so a typical birthday party may look like 6 girls because all the packages they start with 6 girls and we go up to 10 girls.
Okay.
So they would come in, and have all of their services, things like that. Then they would take all of their pictures. We always have a dance party. Got to have a dance party.
Yes,
what I mean? So they would have their dance party. We would play the different games, or if it was slime making, jewelry making, whatever comes with that package, that's what we do with the girls. Then after that, they head off to the party room where pretty much we pride ourselves in being like a one-stop party shop. So the parents basically just show up. We take care of everything. The only thing that we do not do as of now, which we will be doing, we will be offering this, is the cake or the cookies or things like that. But we serve pizza and plush lemonade. So and they pretty much just, go through all the services. Last stop is the party room, and they just have a good time.
And you and your team fulfill all of these amenities throughout the party?
Yes. So we basically, it's Plush Party Palace Girls Spa. It's actually an event planning business, right? So it's not like your average spa, adult spa. You know what I mean? And so I call it event center and it's a spa kind of combined. We are a licensed, beauty spa or what have you. We do have a license on the building and everything or whatever. So we basically, just do the services as, little girls can go with their parents and things like that to the nail shops or whatever. But they ain't getting no plush lemonade.
Right.
They're not getting no fruits. You know what I mean? They're not getting all of that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Light flex.
Exactly. Yes. Just a little light flex. But, more importantly than that, the makeup and, different things like that, it's more about positive influences. You know what I mean? Building up their self-esteem while they're there. I can't tell you how many times we have had little girls there or what have you, and they really are suffering with like low self-esteem, and we had one little girl, I'll give you for instance, and we were doing her services and things like that. And, I kept just giving her compliments and, like, oh my goodness, your hair is so pretty.
Yeah.
And, oh, look at your little toes are so cute, because we want to communicate with them. We don't want to just, do their services or what have you. We really want to communicate with them and let them know that we're happy to have them and they're in a safe place. They're in a safe environment. And that's really important, excuse me, to us. And so I just kept giving her compliments, and she was just like, everything I would say, like, oh, your hair is so pretty. No, it's not. Oh, yes, it is. Such and such, oh, and everything that I said, she was like, no, it's not. And, and I told her, I said, what I want you to do for me, I said, would you do something for Miss LaFawn? And I just told her, when she wakes up every single morning, when she's preparing for school or whatever, just look herself in the mirror and just tell yourself that I am beautiful. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Can you do that for me? So I would just give her little tidbits and stuff like that, without overly, stepping over the parents' boundaries or anything like that. Like the parents know we're all about motivating, self-esteem building, different things like that. So that's really the most important thing for us there at Plush.
Yeah. That's amazing. And it spoke to me so much because I hear the story about the little girl and I think about how many adult women who are unable to receive compliments. Even the most confidently projecting woman who you may think has all the confidence, when you give them a compliment, the first thing they begin to do is to break apart. Oh, this old thing, this old wig, this old, you know what I mean? And it's like those little girls become adult women who are still struggling with self-esteem issues. Maybe it's false confidence projected to the world. So your goal, and you just kind of alluded to it, but what is the goal of the Spa Party Palace? What's the goal of it?
That is the number one goal, is to inspire, is to build up. Like I said, we have what we call like an inspiration station. And what that is we have like different plaques on the wall. I can do all things, or queen, or commitment, decide, just various plaques with different phrases and different things like that. And so sometimes what we do at the end of the party or whatever, or during the party, when we stop there at the inspiration station, we would bring the girls over or whatever and just ask them to read off the plaques, you know what I mean? And then kind of just talk to them about the plaques and, can anybody raise their hand? What does this mean? And they're, ooh, I know what that means or whatever. And so that's something that, we're really, really, really passionate about, and it's nice to, and I mean, they enjoy the makeup, they enjoy getting their nails done. They enjoy, we really want to let the little girls know that it's okay to be who you are. You know what I mean? You are a princess. You are beautiful. It's okay to be feminine. You know what I mean? It's okay to like polish. And then you get some girls that come there and they're like, I don't want no polish. I just want them soaked. You know what I mean? And so little girls are different. You know what I mean? All of them are different and unique. You know what I mean? And so wherever they are, that's where we meet them. You know what I mean? And so that's really our main focus. And we just want to celebrate them. Their families that come, we have, great, interaction with the families and things like that. We get to know a lot about the families while they're there, have conversations with the moms as well. Which is really, really great because a lot of times, the moms are bringing the little girls as, an outlet for whatever's going on, behind the scenes at home sometimes. There's times where we've actually put on like a session, like a workshop, and we wanted to talk about like bullying and self-esteem. And so with this particular workshop we put on, I asked the girls, I said, how many know what bullying is? All the hands went up, all the hands. So all the girls knew that. So I would let them tell their little stories and share what had happened to them or what have you. And then we would give them some positive feedback on it or how to handle it, different things like that. And then I turned and I asked them, how many know what self-esteem is? And they just look at each other. Some of the hands would try to go up, but they weren't really sure. And that was like an alarm there for me because I said, this really is one of the things that shows bullying is talked about a lot, right? And it's really prevalent and it's out there and they all know about it or a lot have experienced it. But they don't know what self-esteem is. So that tells me that portion of it needs to be talked about more because if we can build their self-esteem at a young age, if we can get to them at a young age, you know what I mean? and instill certain values in them and how to deal with it, not to just because it shouldn't be accepted,
Right.
period. You know what I mean? It's never okay to accept bullying at all, but there's a way to do it. You know what I mean? Not the fighting and the, if you hit me or you say something to me, you know what I mean? I'm gonna say something back. You know what I mean? But there's a way to do it, and we want to teach them in a more positive way that's gonna get them a better result than getting suspended or something like that. But when we saw those hands go up, and then we heard those stories, and like I said, when it came to self-esteem, they didn't know. So that was our time there to pour into them what self-esteem was and just build them up. You know what I mean? So when they left there that day, if they didn't know what self-esteem was, they found out about it.
So do you think it was them not having a definition for self-esteem, or really not understanding what self-esteem is?
I think some of them just never heard of it. And then if they did hear of it, I think it just maybe was never really, talked about as much, you know what I mean? Because I know parents, nowadays, mental health is big, and it's being talked about and different things like that. And parents do what they can do at home, and they do fabulous jobs and things like that. We just want to serve as just as a buffer, for the parents as well. To know that your child is coming somewhere where it's going to be a positive environment, that they're going to leave there feeling inspired, you know what I mean, and things like that. Like it's just something that parents love, and when the parents come, they love it just as much as the children.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when they walk in there, they're just like, "Oh my God, this is amazing. This is beautiful. This is and it's called Plush." And so when you walk in there, that's exactly what it is. You're going to get that full experience of it being plush, And I remember when I was building Plush, and I love my mom. She's so amazing and supportive. But she was like, when I'm looking for the decor, and she'd say, "Oh, Fawn, you don't need those chairs. Just get some little 10 chairs right now, and later on you can, this, that, and the other." I was like, "Mom," "it's Plush Party Palace Girl Spa, so it has to be plush, And so I want parents to, feel warm, and I want the children to feel warm and in an inviting place or what have you. And that's what it is. And not just that, you know what I mean? Like I'm a believer, what have you. So I want them to feel peace when they come. You know what I mean? I want them to actually feel like they've stepped into a whole different environment when they come to Plush. And I get that feedback a lot without even talking about it. People will come and just be like, "Oh my goodness, it's just so peaceful here." And, parents will come and they'll just stay, and, guests will come and they'll just linger and stay around or whatever. And I love that, you know what I mean? Because I love meeting new people and things like that. So, yeah.
I want to shift it a little bit because you mentioned your mom. And that story about your mom and the chairs, it actually reminds me of a story with Frank. Because that was like our similar dynamic when we were creating the podcast. Because I'm like, listen, all we need is a sofa. Just a black leather sofa. And he's like, "No, sis, it doesn't speak. Leading ladies, it's not that." It reminds me of that. But I see your confidence, and I hear your mission and your purpose. And then you talk about your mom. How important has your mom's influence over you been to you becoming this woman who you are today, who is confident, who is fulfilled, who knows her value and things like that? How important is it?
Very important. I am the only child of my mother's. So, my mother, I was my mom's everything. You know what I mean? And I am my mom's everything. Like literally, she still kind of views me as, she knows I'm a woman and different things like that. But being that I'm the only child and I am, just her world, she still, treads a little bit, on territory and be like, "Well, fine, and it's like, "Mom, but she instilled in me, the values that she could, whatever she could pour into me, that's what she poured into me. My mom was 18 when she had me. She was from here in Lima. We came from a really, really big family. My mother got a job at GM in Ypsilanti, Michigan when she was, I don't know, maybe 22, something like that, or what have you. So that's how we originally got to Michigan. And so with that, she didn't really know anybody there. So I would have to stay here with my grandma. So it was between my grandmother and my mom who raised me or what have you. And so, my mom went there to make a better life, for herself and for me, and so I would go there, once she got settled and everything, I would go there and go to school there. And of course, I was so attached to my grandmother, my cousins, and different things like that because I didn't have brothers and sisters. So my cousins were my brothers and sisters, and we were very, very close. My aunts, my uncles, very, very close, And so when I would go there and go to school, and I'd miss my family here, and so I'm like, Mom, I want to go back, And so then she sent me back, And so literally, I went to elementary school here, elementary school there, middle school here, middle school there, high school here, high school there. You know what I mean? And that's just how it was, But she was very, very instrumental, very, very important, very hard worker. You know what I mean? Like she went out there and she made it happen for, me and her, So yeah.
You're a people person. And when you talk about going to middle school there, middle school here, and going back and forth, that didn't have an effect on you, or did that just was just natural?
Yeah.
You're a natural people person. Is that the narrative that a lot of
pretty
people?
Much, yeah.
Okay.
It's I am a people person. I've always been a people person. I think what made me a people person was the fact that excuse me, when kids are outside playing, right? I didn't have anyone to go home to and play. I didn't have a sister or brother to go home and play with. My other friends, they have sisters and stuff like that to go home and play with or whatever. So I had to go home and, be alone or just, make my own entertainment and different things like that. So it was never hard for me to make friends as a child because I was such a people person. And it's like one of the things I think sometimes is like only children. We kind of get like a bad rap sometimes because typically people think if you're the only child, then that means you're spoiled. You know what I mean? Which I was spoiled in the way of, if you want to call it spoiled, which I don't think it's really spoiled. I just think that it was my mom took very good care of me. You know what I mean? And so I didn't have to want or really ask for anything. She supplied, and she took very good care of me. And so if I had 5 Barbie dolls or whatever, I was trying to give someone Barbie dolls, you know what I mean? Or I was trying to share my Barbie dolls because I had so many. So it wasn't that, I wasn't the kid that just held on to everything like mine, because I knew that I wasn't going to get another one. If you take my Barbie, I know my mom will give me another Barbie, And so I think that that's what helped me be a people person because I love being around people. I loved just making new friends. And like I said, it was very, very easy. When I would, so I have friends in Michigan. I have friends here, you know what I mean? And as I got older coming back here, it was a little bit different because, as you're growing up and you're getting into those teen years and different things like that, that was a little bit different, and challenging at times or what have you, just with other females and different things like that. But for the most part, I hung with a group of great girls and, things like that. So, yeah.
I want to kind of talk about that spoiled comment because I feel like in a Black community, we tend to do that too often where, just kind of being taking care of your children well, they'll say, oh, they're spoiled, you're spoiling them.
Right.
I don't believe in that spoiled narrative at all, especially when you're showing your child what abundance looks like.
Absolutely.
Obviously, there's a balance between teaching them, hard work and appreciation for what they have and abundance. What is your thoughts on spoiling young girls or, allowing them to feel like the princess that they are? And what's your thoughts about just the narrative of being spoiled?
Yeah, I think that it is a narrative. It's a picture that's painted. And like I said, sometimes what I've seen is like only children, and I'm still an only child. I was an only child. Now I'm an only child, just grown up woman, you know what I mean? And so sometimes that narrative can still be pushed around like, oh, you're spoiled, you know what I mean? Or, oh, blah, blah. And it's like, I'm not spoiled, you know what I mean? Like, I just, I like what I like. I know what I want. Different things like that. I'm not demanding. I don't demand anybody do anything for me because my mom was a single mom. And I watched her work. I watched her work hard. I watched her, take care of me and still trying to give me just a peaceful life and different things like that. And she had her own things that she dealt with and things like that or what have you. But I was still always primary in her life, and I knew that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And sometimes, I didn't like the babysitters that
Yeah.
I would have, and if I wanted to go back, to Ohio, she had no problem sending me. But we had that bond there to where I knew why the situation was what it was. You know what I mean? And so it's I think that spoiled narrative needs to kind of just
Be
stop,
thrown out the
just be
window.
thrown out the window, because just because um I'm taken care of, just because someone loves me, just because someone wants to shower me with whatever that is, be accepting of that, and don't look at somebody like, oh, she's spoiled because she has this or she has that, which they don't know what that person is going through. They don't know why they have what they have. You know what I mean? They don't know that new purse might have just, made their day because I don't know, something was happening, whatever it is, what I mean, whatever scenario it is. But it's like, I just think that people need to more so, there needs to be more spoiling, but that word should not be attached. Taken care of, self-care, self-love, loving on other people. What is wrong with that? What is wrong with pouring into someone, making sure that they know and feel like they're valued? You know what I mean? And if a lot of young girls know that when they're younger, when they grow up, that will cancel out so much. And yeah, they still will go through things, but I guarantee you, if certain things, and my mom did everything that she knew to do, but I know that if there were certain things that was instilled in me when I was younger, there's certain things that I would not deal with. You know what I mean? There's certain things that I wouldn't have had to learn on my own. And I'm a big advocate of, you don't have to learn the lesson. Some people say like, well, yeah, you just got to learn the lesson. You got to learn your own, this, that, and other. And I agree. There's some things that you do have to find out for yourself. But if I can listen at someone else, if I can put my pride aside and listen at someone else tell me something, even though I might think, if I sit there and I listen to them, if they tell me, if you go left, there's a big bear down there, it's going to bite you. Okay. You ain't going to survive that bite. And if they tell me, if you go right, this is the road that you want to take. People need to learn to listen to that. You know what I mean? Because I want to learn a lesson from you, because you said, A, B, C, D. You know what I mean? So you don't always have to learn the hard way. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think it's okay to pour into others, and that should not, and love on others, and that should not be looked at as being spoiled, at all. I think there should be a balance, definitely, in terms of when you're raising your children up. You know what I mean? You don't want to just give them everything just because, and just because they ask. You know what I mean? You have to learn how to balance that thing or whatever, because you're still teaching them, you know what I mean, values and this, that, and the other, whatever. If I just bought you this nice coat and excuse me, you're already asking for another coat just because it's some kind of name brand that you like, and you ain't taking care of this coat. You done laid it on the back, I done seated on the floor. You're not getting no new coat right now. We can revisit that another day. But that's the type of thing, but they may get it a few months from then, but it's okay. Yeah, it's okay.
I love that. And I think it's important, like going back to your mission and your goal for young girls, instilling certain principles and values of, getting what it is that you deserve and experiencing abundance and all of those things, and dispelling the myths of being spoiled. And I do think that transcends into adulthood as a woman, and even how you're choosing your mate. So you are married, happily married. You're happily married. And how long have you been married?
I've married almost 5 years.
So I want to talk a little bit about the transition between Michigan and Ohio, because you guys spent some time living in separate houses throughout that time. How did you guys make that work?
Early on, in any relationship, you have that fire there, you know what I mean, that keeps things burning or what have you. And so, we understood that, we met, I mean, he lived here, I lived there. So we understood that there was going to be a transition period. We didn't know exactly what that looked like, because there were other things that came into play to where the transition didn't happen as fast as, we may have thought that it was going to happen. And so, he would basically just, go to Michigan, come to Michigan or what have you. I would come here sometime, but, I had a home there and everything or whatever. So that home was primary, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, excuse me, until, we figured out exactly what we were going to do. And there was a lot of different things, on the table where we had to figure out, he worked here, had been at his job for a number of years, almost, well, 20, it's over 25 years now. So, I mean, he was established at his job,
Yeah.
and I had worked at the school district, as an administrative assistant to the principal, working with special needs children and elementary children and different things like that. And so I had been on my job for 11 years, it was 11 years and 25 years, it wasn't 25 years, but it was still 11 years, you know what I mean? So that was a good time. And I love what I did, for the children and for the parents and different things like that. So we had to kind of just figure out exactly what we were going to do, when we were going to do it. And so we just made it work, like I said, we, would go on vacations and different things like that to reconnect or what have you. It wasn't easy. There were things that would come up that definitely challenged, our time apart, because it's one of those things, when you're just in a relationship period, let alone married, you know what I mean? You want to be with that person,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But we had gone into it knowing the circumstances, and we just, tried to make it work as best as we could. And like I said, there were definitely some challenges, some hurdles and things that we had to overcome. But at that time, that's what we did, what we had to do.
That's good, because I feel like some people would look at maybe a distance barrier as being a reason to say we won't get married. We won't commit to each other. We'll just kind of keep this long distance relationship. Was that ever a thought for you two? Or was it just like, hey, we're in love, we're going to make this commitment? What was the...
Yeah, I don't think that it was ever really a barrier really there necessarily, because being that I had roots here, as well. So me, coming here was, which I really didn't come back here often at all. You know what I mean? So I didn't, until I got married, I really was just in Michigan, primarily or what have you. I would come back and visit my family every now and again or whatever, but I was busy with work and kids and, just building my own life in Michigan, but we, it was never really a barrier, when we met or what have you, and we were introduced to one another. It was just, we built the relationship, we went on with it, and we just, we would make it work, so it was never really a barrier.
Okay.
But at the same time, like I said, it wasn't easy, you know what I mean? So there were times where it's just like, if you're not seeing each other or whatever, it's just like, okay, I want to see, my wife, or I want to see my husband or whatever. And, he's a very busy person as well. I'm busy in my own thing, trying to build a business and things like that or whatever. And he was very busy, coaching and different things like that. So we definitely had some times where we had to just make it work, like really make it work, and because some things were not working, you know what I mean? And that's just a fact, you know what I mean? Everything, when people get married, it's not all, butterflies and roses and hearts every day or whatever, you know what I mean? But you have to make certain adjustments, sacrifices and different things like that, but,
Now I'm going to ask you for some personal tips, because I have a non-traditional relationship, or maybe deemed as a long distance relationship. My husband is incarcerated.
Okay.
So I have an non-traditional relationship, but the love is so strong. The communication is so deep rooted. I don't feel the effects that some people would think that I feel from our circumstances. But like you mentioned, you have to be intentional about certain things. And that goes for all relationships, no matter what the circumstances are. What are some of the intentional tips that you would give for married couples or people who are in a relationship and they're just trying to make some of those things work?
I would say, and congratulations on, your love and what you've been able to build with your partner, regardless
We've
of the
been
circumstances.
happily married for 5 years.
Really?
Happily married. Listen, I won't trade him for nobody in the world.
And it's, and the thing is, it's, there's marriage, there's happily married, and then there's,
we just here.
We just here. But even in that,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? With being married, you have to establish goals of where you want to be in your marriage. You know what I mean? And even if, you're not as happily married or whatever, in that time period doesn't mean that you cannot become a happily married couple. You know what I mean? And only you and your partner know both when, you know what I mean, that, you're just going to go ahead and wrap this thing up or whatever, for whatever reasons, Um, but I think that some tips would be number one, is to keep people out your business. Because that's the thing that really can affect the relationship. It's important to be able to discuss things with your mate privately. One of the things that, I feel in my marriage that was important is that we actually have, if in, and with being married in relationships, sometimes you need an outlet or to talk to someone or what have you, but there's still a way to do that. You know what I mean? Like you have to use wisdom. You have to be wise because everyone that you're disclosing your business to, you know what I mean, they're not there to really support you in any kind of way. They're there to know your business, run with your business, and then run you down with your business, right? And so you just have to be prayerful, and you have to know who to talk to, when to be able to talk to them. And then also, I think it's important to let your partner know, or you and your partner have, like for me, I feel like it was important that we had certain people that if we were struggling in a particular area, that we both had designated people that we both knew that it was okay to talk to this person, right? And that's fine. The problem becomes when you start disclosing personal business, because one thing about it is, like, I'm married, but my business, it's not just my business, it's our business, right? So whatever you tell about yourself in this marriage, you're telling about your other partner, or you're disclosing certain things that really is nobody's business one way or the other. You're shaping the perception of your mate, you know what I mean? And so it's really, really important that you find people and you agree to certain people that you can talk to. But at the end of the day, technically, really, you should be talking to one another, period. Because when you invite people in your business, like I said, they want to know your business, and all they're going to do is run and tell your business. And you think you're just talking to them, but you're talking about 3 or 4 other people. And I definitely, like I said, I think it's really, really important to just keep people out your business.
And sometimes people want to know your business because it helps them feel better about their business.
Absolutely.
So then it just becomes a battle of, well, my stuff ain't as bad as theirs. And so I love it. Just be intentional about who you're talking to and have designated people. So my husband and I've had a therapist for about 2 years. My husband and I just attended therapy together as a couple recently. And that's been very important because we don't share with anyone outside of each other. We have kind of been that support and that counsel for each other.
That's really, really good. And I think that is a exceptional goal. That's what it really should be. You know what I mean? But it's like, if you just cannot help yourself and you just feel like you just got to, talk to somebody or whatever. But, I don't mean like, I just think it's really important that if you have to talk to somebody, then you and your mate have that designated person to talk to. You know what I mean? So then that way it's not like you both are held accountable in that moment. But like you said, you and him talk with one another, period. You don't invite people in. That's the best relationship. That's the best relationship. And that's really is what it should be. Nobody, because at the end of the day, you're going to sleep with each other. You're waking up with each other. Whatever it is, you're building with one another. It's nobody's business.
It's nobody's business. And it's difficult when you begin to bring other people in or people. So you have people that you trust, and then you just have people on the outside who just assume. And those sometimes become challenges. And we spoke about that a little bit before we began to record, because it's kind of like those outside forces that if you're not strong and you guys aren't sealed, those outside conversations can begin to somewhat have an effect or a toll. So let's talk a little bit about how you handle the noise, the comments, the perceptions, the opinions,
Mhm.
or whatever. How have you handled that with business, with relationships, just in general?
Yeah. Um, so let's say, well, since we were talking about relationship, we'll kind of stay there and I'll shift to business.
Mm-hmm.
But um, just in terms of relationship wise, um, you hear the comments, you know what I mean? Whether it's, through your partner, you know what I mean? Or whether it's through a third party or whatever, you find out um, who's talking, you know what I mean? Like I can literally be looking at someone and know that they've said A, B, C, D,
Mm.
and not necessarily address them. You know what I mean? That's something that I just know for myself. Like I that lets me know how to move with that person.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So there's times where I can walk in a room and I know that a person has had a comment, has had just their opinion or whatever. And every people are going to have an opinion.
Yeah.
You can have your opinion all day, but just because you have an opinion doesn't make it okay to assert and just make all kind of innuendos and make all kind of noise and just talk about people and talk about the matter. It doesn't necessarily make it okay. It's your opinion, and that's all it is. At the end of the day, is an opinion. But for me, if anybody ever goes back on my social media, you'll never see anything about my relationship on social media. Yeah. You know what I mean? Anything that goes on with my relationship, I handle it behind the scenes as it should be.
Yes.
That's how it should be. And so, but you do have those who stick their nose in your business. They want to question different things or what have you when they don't really know what's happening behind the scene. It's like, oh, well, why isn't your wife here, with you or whatever, or why your wife this or why, blah, blah, blah. Number one, it's not anybody's business really. Number two, you don't know the circumstances that's happening behind the scenes or going on behind the scenes, why we weren't together when we were together or what have you, and so at the end of the day, I'll never really address anyone directly on social media regarding my relationship or anything. There's some times when, like I told you before, yeah, I'll hit an inbox up.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's very few far in between. That's not something that I'm going around doing, like getting in people's inbox, like, did you say this and did you say that and did you say, because I really don't have time for it, because I really don't care, right? I don't really care in the sense of, oh my God, they said this about me. Oh my God, they think this about our relationship. Oh my God. It's not that, but I care about who I am as a person.
Yes.
I value myself. I am a businesswoman. So therefore, innately, nobody really wants their business out in the street. You know what I mean? Innately, nobody wants to be perceived in a negative way or what have you, from somebody's opinion, but it happens. You know what I mean? But it's not to the point where I'm going to chase down every rumor, every, thing that I hear, what have you. And like I said, there's times when I know when it's time to address something, and when I need to address it, I'll address it. And I'm the type of person, I'm very direct. So I don't have a problem with coming directly to you. Yeah. And not coming directly to you as in, oh, you said blah, 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 this, that, and the other. That's not my character. Right. That's not the type of person I am. You know what I mean? So I know how to speak very well, you know what I mean? And so I know how to address someone, and I don't want to be offensive to that person, but I want to have a conversation. Yes. If I feel there needs to be a conversation, I'm going to address you like a woman, or I'm going to address, I really don't address men like that. Ain't no reason, but I will address you like a woman. And, depending on how you want to take it or whatever, but for the most part, I don't have to do that. And like I said, I've had to do it a couple times, and I think that that's only right. If someone has the audacity, right, to speak on a situation and say some things that you really have no clue about, and you really are speaking not just on my relationship, but now you're speaking directly about me, then I have more of a problem with that because you don't know me. And so it just depends on what's being said is when I feel like it needs to be addressed, and for the most part, with the exception of, one or something like that, I've had to really just, put them in their place, and let them know. But for the most part, people are really receptive. Women are really receptive. if you come at them in the correct manner. If you go at somebody and you just, trying to just assert this, or like you about to whatever, I don't know, but they're gonna have a problem with that, and you're
Yeah.
gonna be met with that same
Absolutely.
energy. You know what I mean? But I try to give people respect. I talk to people with respect. And if they keep it respectful with me, I'll keep it respectful with them. And even when they try to get out of line, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's still a way where I can let somebody know, I mean, business without, going there, because that's not my character.
Yeah.
But people will try you,
Yeah.
and people will try to bring you out of character, what have you. But you
that doesn't work.
You know,
but I will check you with love.
I will check you with love.
Yes,
and you will
and
know.
we will keep it moving.
We just gonna keep it moving.
Yeah, and I think sometimes people just have it's just a habit. It's like a contagious disease. One person says something, then the next person says something, and it's this entire false narrative. And you do have to shift from a point where it's just like, you know what, that doesn't it doesn't bother me. But when it's kind of like personalized attacks, then it's like, okay, we have to have this conversation. And that's the way it's approached. Like, this is a conversation.
Absolutely.
What are you feeling? What are you hearing? What is the issue? And I'm going to address it, and we're going to go our separate ways. I think that the way a woman carries herself speaks volumes to how people respond to her. And you are the type of woman that seems very assured with herself, very confident. You stand tall, you speak up. Do you find that people rarely come to you with mess because of the way you project, or?
Generally, people really don't come to me with like mess. Nobody's like, coming to me, checking me about anything, or trying to, you know what I mean? There are times where, and it depends on the source, you know what I'm saying? I'm a people person, but at the same time, I'm very careful with who I allow in my circle, in my inner circle. But I am a people person. And so it depends on the source. If it's somebody that I know that is straight, you just messy, you're being messy, you're trying to keep up mess or what have you, it's come further but no further.
Yes.
You know what I mean? One of my spiritual mentors told me one time, she said, you have to be able to evaluate people in your space to where if they are, her name is Toy Reed, hey Toy, but
hey, Toy.
If they are interfering with your force field, if they are, as soon as they come, if they're interfering with that force field, you keep them here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't allow anybody to interrupt, you know what I mean? Interrupt you and what you have going on. So it's times where, I don't have time for it. So I don't need to really address it. There's times people will come to me and tell me something that someone has said or whatever. Depending on who it is, I may turn a listening ear to it and listen to it. And then other things I won't listen to, or other times I'll listen to it and hear it or whatever, and it goes in one ear and right out the other. You know what I mean? Because I'm not going to make decisions based just solely on something that you've told me, because I don't know what your motive is for telling me this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you have to be able to discern people's intentions and people's hearts. For the most part, I can discern things. And then I miss things sometimes, and you have to adjust with it. But for the most part, I'm so focused on, building my business here. I'm very focused on, my children, I'm very focused on, I used to say this thing where all I think about is souls and cupcakes, cupcakes and souls. And that's truly, yes, I have business and entrepreneurial goals and different things like that. But ultimately, my relationship with Jesus Christ is the most important thing for me. That's my ministry. When I deal with people, it's always really from a level of ministry in some way, shape, or form. Ministry always finds its way back into my circle. You know what I mean? But yeah, so I just don't. And when you give energy to that kind of stuff and people being messy and trying to keep up mess and different things like that, it interrupts this. You know what I mean? Because we know what God's word says, but there are times when, when things are being brought to you, or, you're being interrupted in your spirit or whatever, sometimes you can, come out of character. You know what I mean? I'm not one to say that I've never come out of character. I'm always, you know what I mean? No, I've come out of character, and I've had to pray about it, and I've had to get back in character because ultimately I know who I am. I know what my goal is. I know what God has planned for me. I know his mission for me. And it's not to be going back and forth with messy people, whether it's about relationship, business, you name it. The thing with business, sometimes people have their opinions about your business or what you're doing. And, I've experienced that, while I've been here. It's been, a little,
it's been interesting,
little different, interesting or what have you. And, people have questions and they see you building something, right? But again, they don't know what's going on behind the scenes. They don't know what it's taking. They don't know the sacrifice. They don't know the tears that you've cried over A, B, C, D with your business. You know what I mean? Just like relationship, they don't know what's happening within that relationship that's causing A, B, C, D. They don't know. And it's really not their business, but they make it their business. But with business, people will question, well, is that a licensed beauty salon? Different things like that, and it's just like, well, number one, it's like, is that really a concern of yours to necessarily know that, and of course, any establishment, you want to know what you're going to and what's, what or whatever. But, someone actually, called the state to see if, we were a beauty, a licensed beauty salon. And we're an event planning business. We are not a salon. You know what I mean? But I went ahead and, got the license on the building or whatever, just to go ahead and do what I needed to do. So it didn't do anything but help level us
Absolutely.
up. That's it. So that's one way that, people have poked their nose in my business and building a business and trying to build a brand. And with that, everybody is not going to be happy for you as you go along your entrepreneurial journey and different things like that. They'll have their opinions, they'll have their thoughts, and that's okay. You know what I mean? But what's not okay is to just down people, talk bad about people. I'm very big on, if you ain't got nothing good to say, don't say it. What is it? It's not, it's not hurting you. You doing what you're doing, having your podcast show and being positive and trying to be motivating and different things like that. That's something to be esteemed. That's something to be proud about. That's something to pat somebody on the back about. You know what I mean? And so there's no reason why someone else should want to tear someone down who's trying to do something positive in the community for the community. You know what I mean? And so I'm trying to inspire young girls, I'm trying to build up young girls and anybody that has anything to do with Plush as a whole or what have you. They're going to be inspired in some way, shape, or form. And so I try to really just not focus on the negative. And sometimes, like you said, sometimes you don't even have to go looking for it. It comes to you. And then you have to determine how you're going to respond to that. You know what I mean? This is the first time I'm actually really talking about it publicly in terms of, one of those challenges and hurdles of, someone doing something or trying to be messy with you in business, you know. But it's, it's fine. It's okay, and you just learn to adjust.
And it's important, LaFawn. And first of all, that was good. That was really good. But it's important to talk about it because there's so many women who experience it. Most of us are experiencing those challenges, whether it's coming from external forces or there's some sort of internal battle.
Absolutely.
But we're all facing these challenges. And I do think it's very, very important that we create a community of women who are vulnerable. And because we have been hurt and disappointed and let down, there's some walls up for many of us, but especially as women, there's unique challenges that we face in leadership, and it is really important to to share that. So you did it so well and so tastefully, and I appreciate you for coming and stating those truths. You actually wrapped it up pretty good. because you brought it all the way back. But I did want to ask you one more question, just pertaining to people, because you mentioned intentionality several times, and I'm big on intentionality. But you also talked about your tribe, how important it is to have designated people when it comes to having conversations of vulnerability. You also mentioned a business coach and a spiritual leader or a spiritual coach. Did you put a tribe around you intentionally to help you maintain what it is that you're building?
You know what? I pretty much when I initially established Plush back in Michigan, I was very, very involved in my church, the River. Hey,
hey y'all.
Hey y'all. I was gonna call names, but I ain't gonna call names. But hey y'all. But I was very, very connected with my church, and it wasn't just a church; it was like family. You know what I mean? So we were very, very close. We poured into one another. I had an amazing, amazing pastor, amazing, amazing anointed pastor. You know, I developed these amazing relationships within the body of Christ and different things like that to where they became family. And they really, really poured into me, you know, and I would pour into them. And so that is something that just happened by being attached. You know, a lot of times people feel like, you know, you don't need to belong to a church or the church this or the church has gotten a bad rap. I'll say that, you know, but you know, just being a part of a body of Christ that when you go there, they're actually sharpening you and you're sharpening them so that you can go out and do the work. Because that's what it's about. It's about going out and doing the work. It's about going out and building your ministry. It's about going out and building your business. You know what I mean? With the tools that they have instilled in you. You know what I mean? And so that kind of just came organically and naturally. And so when I started to build the business, they were very, very supportive. They were very, very happy for me. The first Plush that I opened, I had gotten the building. Nobody really knew about it but a select few. And I had my birthday party there. And when I had my birthday party there, that's when I revealed like it was the building, different things like that. And it's just really important to have people around you who actually value you, who pour into you, who are not jealous, who are not envious, you know, different things like that. Because one thing about it is I'm a firm believer that whatever you make happen for others, God is going to make happen for you. You know what I mean? So there's no room for jealousy in my book and envy and different things like that. When I'm happy for someone and I see someone doing something, I'm genuinely happy for them because I know I'm next in line I know, you know what I mean? So I'm going to get on that bandwagon, you know what I mean? Because I know she is anointed to do what she's doing or what have you. And so, but it was very, very important, but that happened organically. Here, because I have not attached myself to a specific church or anything like that or what have you, I'm still very much a part of the River. Hey, Pastor. Hey. I am. It's like I ain't been there, but it's like that's your my home. Yes, that's my lifeline. And so here, you know, I just prayed and you know, and I asked God, I'm like, Lord, you know, send me who needs to be in my circle. Because I don't if you not listen, if God ain't sent you, I don't want you. You know what I mean? And that's it, that's just what it is, you know what I mean? But I've been very, very fortunate to where God just started sending people, you know, and I know a God send and I know one that's not a God send, you know. Frank has been a true God send. He's an amazing, amazing person. He actually made the Plush logo.
Really?
Yeah, back then.
I love it.
Yeah, and so that is the face of Plush. But God just has that ability to send people to pour into you. And for you to pour into people. And I think that's so important. So building that circle has been through prayer. You know what I mean? And I pray for God to send and I pray for God to send away. You know what I mean? Because sometimes we can allow people in our lives that shouldn't necessarily have had access to us in the first place. You know what I mean? But because we missed it, because we didn't connect, because we somehow missed it, and we all missed it. You know what I mean? But you have to just revamp sometimes, you know what I mean? And you have to weed out or whatever. And you have to allow God to help you weed out, you know. But I've definitely been just selective with who I allow to help me build this brand because it's so important to me. So everything that I do, you know what I mean, I seek God about it and I ask God's opinion and for him to lead me and to guide me and different things like that. And so far, he's just done an amazing job. There's some people that come in that have had to go out, and he's a revealer of hearts and intentions. And sometimes again, we don't know the heart of a person because I don't pretend to know everything. I don't
Yeah.
pretend to know how to do it all because I don't. There's
Yeah.
things that I'm just learning along the way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But God will send you who you need and what you need to build your business and build your brand. And he's still sending people, So I'm thankful for
That's
that.
good.
I'm excited about it. It's just more to come. You know what I mean? It's this Plush location
Yeah.
here. Plush Cookie Company is coming soon. Hopefully we'll be launching in May sometime. So I'm just excited about it. But yeah, it's you have to be intentional,
Yeah.
and then you have to let God do what God is going to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Last question.
Mm-hmm.
What is your goal
Mm-hmm.
as for LaFawn? So you have your businesses, you have your cookie company getting ready to launch, you have your amazing relationship, you have your phenomenal children.
Mm-hmm.
What is the goal for LaFawn? What is your purpose in life?
So my purpose in life is souls. I want to see people delivered. I want to see people saved. I want to see people come into the knowledge of Christ. I wear my, it's not necessarily religious, you know what I mean? Because I'm not religious.
Yeah.
I'm a strong believer in Christ, in new creation reality, and what God has planned for us. I want to walk out my full purpose in God. And that's number one, and sometimes in life, things and situations come along to kind of deter you a little bit or what have you. But God has a way of tapping you on your shoulder, and tell you, okay, it's time to get back into alignment. So that's one of the places that I'm in right now personally, where I am, my goal is to get back in full alignment with the things of God and what God has set for me to do in terms of ministry wise. It's God first, then, family, then business or what have you, and God will help you order that. You know what I mean? The Bible says the steps of a good man or woman are ordered by the Lord. So God will help you reorder that. Things that are out of alignment, he'll help you realign yourself. And so I'm all about realignment right now. You know what I mean? And I'm all about building up my business because this is it for me. There's no plan B. It's plan A. That's it. Okay. This is it. I've put so much heart and soul into this. I've invested my everything into this, into building this brand. So there is no plan B for me. You know what I mean? And God is going to make sure that it reaches the level and potential that it needs to reach, in order to reach others, because it's much more than just a business. You know what I mean? And I understand that and I know that. And so that's my goal. My goal is to see others prosper. Everything that I've learned, I'm the type of person that I'm not going to hold on to my knowledge. If someone was to ask me right now, how do you get an LLC? And people have asked me, and I've told them, I've directed them, whatever I can help you with, I'll make sure that I can find somebody that can help you, because it's not going to do anything for me. I don't care if somebody would put up another Plush or a cookie company right now today. It's not going to stop what LaFawn is doing, because one thing about it is we're all uniquely created by God in his image. You know what I mean? And so I'll say this and I'll wrap it up, because I can talk on and on about God when we kind of mix him in here. But I created this brand called Authentically Me. It's a clothing apparel. And so it's basically like an inspirational clothing apparel. And one of the slogans that I created was, God created, never duplicated. And so this is a t-shirt, and it just says, God created, never duplicated. And so that was something that God put in my spirit and actually gave me or what have you. And it's one of those things where people really have to understand that you are God created. You are uniquely created to do what you do. Nobody can do what Taylor is doing. I don't care how many other podcast people are out there. Nobody can do what you do. Nobody can do what Frank does. Nobody can do what Amber does. Nobody can do what LaFawn does. You know what I mean? Because we are uniquely created. So we are God created, never duplicated. There's no one but Taylor. You. Nobody can do what you do. So I encourage you to keep doing what you're doing. Keep stepping forward. Keep moving. Keep being who you are in God. keep being God created, because
Yes.
there's only one you.
I love it.
Period.
I love it.
That's it.
Listen, we cannot wrap it up no better than that. That was phenomenal. Tell the audience how they can contact you and reach you if they want to do business with you, and book you. Let people know how they can reach you.
So if you want to reach me, you can reach me at 734-567-289-1650. That is my business cell phone. And then the cell phone the building number for Plush is 567-289-2002. The business is located 707 North Cable Road, Plush Party Palace Girls Spa in Lima, Ohio. Also, we have an email, plushpartypalace@gmail.com. We also have a website. And soon you will be seeing much more from Plush Cookie Company. I'm super excited about that
too.
because that's really, really, really going to be wonderful and amazing for the community. So look out for Plush Cookie Company coming soon. And if you haven't been to Plush, and you want to just come by and see what we're doing, see what we're about, I invite you in. Give me a call, give me a text, or what have you. I'm all about community.
Yes.
I want to work with others in the community and collab on different things. So, yeah.
Yes. So y'all make sure y'all reach out to LaFawn, okay? Social media handles.
Let's see. Plush Party Palace, Girl Spa, Plush Cookie Co. And my personal page is LaFawn Pugsley.
All right. Reach out to her. So until the next episode, I want you all to continue to learn, continue to grow, and always lead with love. Okay. And these are LaFawn Pugsley's 3 tips for leading ladies.
So if I could just leave you with 3 tips on becoming a leading lady or being a leading lady. 1, I would say prayer. Prayer is very, very key. Start your day with prayer. Even if you don't start your day with prayer, connect with God throughout the day in some way, shape, or form. God is a God who is always there to meet your needs, and He's waiting on you. So enter in. Expect God to download you freely, and He will download you with the direction that you need to go. The Word of God says that He will order your steps. So I would say prayer is definitely key. Also, I would say surround yourself with positive, like-minded individuals who you can be safe with, who you can feel that you can be vulnerable with. We are strong. God has given us strength. He deposits us daily with strength. But at the same time, God desires us to have connection with other people so that we can even be more strong and do the work that He has for us to do freely. So just make sure you surround yourself with people who are like-minded, people who are strong, people who will sharpen you. The Bible says that iron sharpens iron. Get around some people who are willing to take that iron to you and sharpen you, okay? And sometimes that sharpening may not always feel good, but just trust God that He's going to send you people who are going to be honest with you, people who you can be vulnerable with you, and don't be afraid to be vulnerable, okay? Number 3, I would say, also make sure it's so important that you hold on to your own self-worth, that you value who you are. That is so important. And along the way, sometimes we can get in those places where we don't value who we are. When you look at yourself in the mirror, you want to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and know that you are valuable. You want to know that you know your purpose, you know your place. Don't allow anybody or anything to pull you out of that place. Okay? So I would just say, hold on to your value, hold on to your self-esteem, hold on to your self-worth.